Hi, it's me again, and basically we're on the first part of the actual tutorial here. And these are some of the first steps you're going to have to take to determine whether or not it is a person checking in, if it's a frequent guest, and whether or not they have a reservation. And basically, all of this can be done relatively easy, but we'll go ahead and explain it anyway. Okay, so somebody comes up to the desk and you don't know what's going on with them. So the first thing you ask is, are you checking in, or something along those lines. And if they say no, then you don't have to do any more of this tutorial. And if they say yes, after you determine whether or not they're checking in, let's just say that they say yes, and then you ask, do you have a reservation? And that will determine whether or not that this person walking up to you has a reservation or not. Generally, you can kind of tell eventually whether or not they do just by the way they're approaching you and if they have reservation papers in their hand and whatnot. But sometimes even people with reservations don't have that information, so don't assume anything. And then you have to determine whether or not there's somebody that stays here frequently. So this is done pretty simply, actually. So you ask them their last name. And there's a way to query the last name as to whether or not how many times they've stayed here. So if their last name is Johnson, you would type in Johnson, and it'll bring up all the people last name Johnson. And the screen to do that with is very simple to find. All you gotta do from the main screen is push the letter G. And there's a screenshot down below me right now that has that guest screen that you search by. And like I said, you push G at the main screen and it brings up, the query screen, and then there's another screenshot down below that has where you enter the information at, and then it'll show all their names, and it happened to enter the last name Ratliff in the screenshot. So, let's just say that, you determine they're a frequent guest. And the main reasons we like to know whether or not a guest is frequently stays at La Quinta is we do things a little differently with them. And what I mean by that is, for frequent guests, we don't ask to see their payment information because we already have it, unless of course they're changing it, a different credit card or whatever. And we don't ask to see their discount card like AAA or AARP or their government ID or any of that stuff. Because if they've been using it, we just assume we take them at their word. And we don't bother explaining all the hotel amenities and things of that nature because they probably already know them, and if they don't, they'll just ask you. And we also give them express checkout, meaning that we just slip a receipt underneath their door overnight as opposed to making them come down and do the actual checkout procedures, just for, a way of saying thanks, basically, for staying here quite often. And that's that.